I miss him. Thinking about him all the time, and it hurt because when I'm out, somebody always saying, "You look just like your brother."
He was laying on his back with his head towards the one wall where the TV was. He was shot 5 times. The kill shot passed through his heart.
There's a lot of emotion that comes along with this story.
The type of things that she went through and a lot of the abuse that she was suffering.
Her mindset was that she wanted to do whatever she could at that time to hurt him.
And now, the problem with violence is that you can't process the consequences.
September 2nd, 2020, in the throes of the COVID-19 pandemic. A little before 1 p.m., police respond to reports of gunfire outside a residence in Steelton, Pennsylvania.
Steelton Borough is a town of roughly 6,000 residents. We border Harrisburg City on the north end of town, which is the state capital, Pennsylvania. We do get calls of shots fired, but they're usually in the evening hours, overnight hours. It's a unique call for that time of day.
Multiple officers arrived on scene. What they found was an unidentified male lying inside of his front door. He appeared to have multiple gunshot wounds. Officers did attempt to perform life-saving measures to render aid, but they determined there to be no signs of life.
The victim is a black man in his late 30s, and in a town as small as Steelton, it's not difficult for officers to identify him.
Chief of police, he knows many people in the community. He was familiar with that residence, and he knew at that point that it was Ishmael Lewis.
Ishmael Lewis was born in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on November 25, 1980. The first of 9 children raised by devout Muslims, Mary Lewis and Hakeem Hodge.
Growing up Muslim gives you a structure, you know? It gives you a sense of being black as well. You know, it gives you a pride. The way we eat, the way we pray, the way we live our lives. So growing up Muslim is very important. It can give you discipline. Ishmael and my mom, they had a special relationship. He used to always make her smile. Ishmael's relationship with my dad, the same relationship like all of us. It was rocky because he was there, but he was in and out of our lives. He didn't really play that role. As a result, Ishmael had to take up the leadership role, being the oldest. And he did that very well. That's why I never felt the absence of a man in my life.
As Ishmael grew older, he remained an active member of the Nation of Islam. His priorities were his family and his faith, in that order. But he also had an eye for the ladies.
The Lewis brothers, we don't have problems getting women. It's never been an issue of ours. Ishmael, you couldn't hold him down unless you was a special woman.
For a while, it seemed like Ishmael had finally been tamed when his girlfriend gave birth to his first child.
The son's name's also Ishmael.
He was a good father, and he was a good guy. He was trying to do right in life.
But remaining true to his convictions became more challenging with a family to feed.
It's definitely hard to keep a job that's worthy of a paycheck that's gonna support you and your loved ones, besides in the streets hustling. And he did time, you know, for the mistakes he made. He did in and out of prison sometimes. He did small bids, 1 year, 2 year, and I believe his longest was about 5 years.
While Ishmael spent most of his 20s behind bars, he also fathered a total of 5 children. Now determined to become a better role model for them, he decided to make a fresh start in the nearby town of Steelton.
So he got approved for some type of like government assistance to get on his feet after like being in and out of jail. He got an apartment, and he was living rent-free for a while, so he can get on his feet and also work his job and things like that.
He worked the midnight shift or overnight shift at Flagler Force. What Flagler Force is, if you're doing road construction somewhere, they are the flaggers that set up the cones and direct traffic around it.
He was actually getting raises, and he was actually making money that he could actually support himself and his family.
At the age of 39, Ishmael found out he was going to become a grandfather. He also recently found happiness with a new girlfriend, 20-year-old Shanasia Peterson.
She had a high school diploma, but she also had a young child. I think the child was 3 years old at the time. So she was just beginning her life.
I wasn't concerned about our age difference. That's common. It's common growing up in the hood that an older man's dating a younger woman. She always liked Ishmael, always wanting to have a relationship.
But any chance of a new beginning has now vanished in a hail of gunfire. Ishmael has been found shot to death in broad daylight at his home, and investigators are combing the scene for clues.
When I'm going to the scene, I have to get myself in what I call detective mode. I need to slow down my thought process. Everything is step by step, can't miss anything. So I go get my camera out. So then we go, myself and the coroner's office go inside the house and start photographing the inside of the house and the deceased.
Ishmael Lewis was just inside the doorway. One of his legs was probably passing the threshold of the doorway, and he was laying on his back with his head towards the one wall where the TV was. Well, Ishmael was shot 5 times. 3 of them hit him in the legs. He was shot in both legs. He was shot once in the hip area, or groin area, and then what the forensic pathologist described as the kill shot would have gone through his back and went into his lung and passed through his heart. The gunfire in this case, to me, seemed very much targeted at Ishmael. One of the gunshots was a close range gunshot wound, meaning there was soot around the wound, which tells you it was within a foot or 2 feet.
But as far as police can tell, there's no clear motive for the crime.
There was nothing awry, really, inside the house. It's a very small apartment, maybe around 500 square feet. There looked to be nothing out of place, nothing stolen. You see where the drywall was broken out and there were some shell casings inside the house. So we knew part of the shooting happened outside and some inside.
It appears that everything happened in very close proximity. They would have started firing almost certainly outside the residence, but not far outside, maybe from the front stoop, based on where the shell casings were, and then proceeded into the residence and fired shots inside.
However, the spent shell casings do provide detectives with a valuable piece of information.
5 of those shots came from one unidentified .40 caliber handgun, and one of the other shots came from another unidentified .40 caliber handgun.
So there was possibly 2 types of guns.
We knew that our victim did not have a firearm. He did not have a firearm that day. We believed that we had 2 shooters.
as a husband.
As Steelton police try to make sense of the murder of 39-year-old Ishmael Lewis, word spreads to his family back in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
I'm on my way to work, and then I get a phone call. It was my sister. She had the shaky voice. She heard that something bad happened to Ishmael. So I'm already on my way to work. So I drove to where Ishmael lives, which was Steelton. I'm driving. And I'm calling people as I'm driving, but nobody's picking up the phone. And then I get there, and then I see cops. I see a commotion, and my sisters and everybody was screaming. So at that moment, I knew my brother was gone.
Murders aren't a common occurrence in this small town. So unfortunately, police don't have the resources for a full-scale investigation. And the COVID pandemic has made resources even more scarce.
We are a small department, and we only have 2 officers on duty at a time. So the next step is Chief calls in some more detectives.
We actually called in the county forensic unit, which includes officers from multiple jurisdictions who have experience in doing forensic processing of crime scenes. While all those things are going on, other officers are canvassing the neighborhood, talking to neighbors, trying to find out what people may have seen or heard related to this crime.
They did ultimately make contact with several neighbors who had been 911 callers that day.
One witness, he saw Ishmael on the ground trying to defend himself, and there was a lone gunman standing over him inside the residence at that time.
However, the witness's statement contradicts the evidence, which indicates 2 gunmen. Luckily, investigators find another source with a better view of what happened.
One of our other detectives informed me that to the rear of Mr. Lewis's residence, somebody had a camera system set up.
They were able to collect that video evidence that captured 2 black males walking down the alley right at the time of the crime. They initially walk down the alley from the direction of where Harrisburg would be. They walk down the alley together very slowly, and they sort of pace back and forth, and they're seem to be studying their environment, and then they walk down the side of Ishmael's house, and you see them both go down those steps, which would have been leading them towards the front of Ishmael's house. They're off camera for maybe a minute or so, and then they both come walking back on camera, and now you can really see that they're walking with a purpose. They have their hoods up at this point, which they didn't before. One of them's wearing all black. The other one is wearing gray.
While the shooting itself was not caught on camera, the activity that was is highly suspicious.
The video, in conjunction with the evidence from the scene, made it pretty clear we were looking for 2 perpetrators who would have committed the crime.
It was during COVID time, so they had masks on, so it was very difficult to see their identity. We knew it was 2 black males, and that was about it. It's a whodunit.
Ishmael's family don't recognize the 2 men and find it hard to believe he had enemies who'd want to kill him. They wonder if it might instead be a case of mistaken identity. According to them, Ishmael had put his checkered past behind him, but his oldest son had recently attracted some unwanted attention.
The pandemic was going on, and everybody was getting lump sums of money, plus hustling, so everybody was having some type of extra income coming in. So when I'm hearing the stories about everything that's going on from the streets, it's like they wasn't sure if they were looking for Big Ish or Lil Ish, and then that's when everything happened.
Brought to you.
I remember after everything happened, we all drove straight on Market Street to my mom. And the main thing was just make sure she was fine, make sure she was all right. And of course, at that time, she wasn't at all.
Part of the African-American experience, unfortunately, revolves a lot around, Black mothers losing their sons. What that means is sometimes their kids now lost their fathers. So that's where the cycle of generational trauma kind of perpetuates itself, because they didn't have the guidance coming up because their father's life was prematurely taken. That itself conjures up feelings of rage, isolation, loneliness. Those things eventually lead to violence, and that perpetuates the cycle for it to happen again to somebody else's father.
Your wife's law firm is causing us some real trouble.
I need you to kill my wife.
First Comes Love, Then Comes Murder. Premieres Sunday at 9 on TV One.
Prime Day is coming July 11th and 12th with 2 days of epic deals exclusively for Prime members. You'll feel like a big deal. Deals from toys to home and kitchen. It's on Prime Day.
Sometimes it takes a different approach
Today, that's Mrs. Johnson, right?
to imagine your future differently. With Capella University's game-changing FlexPath format, you can earn your nursing degree without putting life on hold.
So yeah, USAA, they always have my back.
USAA? You were in the military?
Oh no, I wasn't, but my grandpa was. He joined USAA, passed membership to my mom, then to me.
There's other ways to get in?
Yeah, my neighbor Ron, he's in because his wife served. Even little Luna, once she's born, her dad served.
So all this time I could have had USAA insurance.
And banking.
Where's my phone?
Over there.
USAA, for the military community and their families.
Steelton police are searching for leads in the murder of 39-year-old Ishmael Lewis. But so far, all they have is speculation.
And we've looked at the video and we've talked to the witnesses, and the scene has been processed. We knew that we were looking for 2 black males, but we didn't have specific suspects.
We all just trying to figure out what's going on. The streets is talking, so you gotta kind of bypass the BS that everybody's talking about, and then what the truth is.
Then a routine search in Harrisburg reveals a surprising connection.
The day after the homicide, state parole reached out to the Steelton police, and he told them that he was going through his GPS monitoring records for the people he was supervising.
Part of their protocol is when there's a major crime that happens, they run their GPS on their clients to see if any of their clients were in the area of a major crime.
He noticed that an individual named Mason Quayles, who had a GPS monitor on his ankle at that time, because he was being supervised by state parole, that he was at the scene of the crime at the time of the crime the day before.
I met with the state parole agent, and it showed Mr. Mason Quayles in the area behind the house, going anywhere from 0 to 2 miles per hour. After the homicide, it shows Mr. Mason Quayles running northbound in the alley at 13 miles per hour. So now I know Mr. Mason Quayles is my prime suspect.
But there's a problem. Quayles has disappeared.
Mason cut his GPS bracelet off the day after the crime occurred on September 3rd. Agent Garrity got a tampering notification that showed that it had been cut, and he actually recovered the device from Mason's mother's house the next day. The police then start investigating Mason Quayles, who his associates might have been, who might have been with him at that time.
I get all the information, date of birth, address, and I get his phone number. And when I run his phone number, the phone was actually owned by Miss Aubriana Parisi.
Police reach out to Aubriana to see if she knows where Quayles went, but she refuses to talk.
Detective Schaub had tried to talk to her a couple different times. She knew that we were interested in finding out what she knew about this situation, and I think she was scared to cooperate.
However, detectives soon come up with another lead.
The Steelton police realized that they had a call that had come in about a half hour prior to the shooting call that also involved Shanasia Peterson. And Shanasia Peterson was the girlfriend at that time of Ishmael Lewis.
When Miss Shanasia Peterson called and said that she was involved with a domestic with her boyfriend, Ishmael Lewis, at 517 North Front Street, that's where the homicide was 28 minutes later.
Is it coincidence or connection? Detectives immediately pay Shanasia a visit to find out.
I go to her house. One of the detectives was in with her, came out to speak with me, and he told me that she was advised that Mr. Lewis is deceased. She was a little upset. There was no tears in her eyes, and we talked a little bit about the domestic violence call that she was involved with.
She said her and Ishmael Lewis were romantically involved. They were seeing each other. She indicated that it was not uncommon for her to spend the night at Ishmael's house a few times a week. That day, she had spent the night.
Shanasia says she made food while Ishmael worked. But in the process, she spilled oil on a few of his belongings. It was an innocent mistake, but according to Shanasia, Ishmael didn't see it that way.
As she was cleaning that up, she had moved some things around. The next morning, she wakes up, Ishmael had gotten home, and he starts asking her, why did you move this? Why did you move that? Then they start arguing, and according to Shanasia, it became physical. Shanasia indicated that he had shoved her and grabbed her and pulled her, knocked her to the ground, that he had stomped her face, she said, with his foot.
She left and went back to her home and didn't know what to do. But soon, she contacted law enforcement to report that incident of domestic violence.
Before any of the department's officers could respond, Ishmael was murdered. Under the circumstances, investigators find the timing suspicious.
It's very odd where you call in a domestic violence call and 28 minutes later, your boyfriend, suspect, is murdered. There was no bruising, no blood, nothing to say that she was involved in the physical altercation. So my whodunit is, do I feel Shanasia is somehow involved in this? Yes.
They'll need more than a feeling, however, if they're going to charge Shanasia with killing her boyfriend.
Not everybody that's a victim of domestic violence shows, physical causes of it. So in that case, you may notice that some victims are, very insecure, very fearful, very worrisome. And also conversely, you may get some that hide it very well. So you may not always be able to tell a victim of domestic violence.
I asked her, after the domestic violence call, did she call anybody or speak to anybody on her phone? And she said yes, she called her friend, Miss Aubriana Parisi.
It's too much to just be a coincidence.
One week after the murder of Ishmael Lewis in the fall of 2020, his family gathers to pay their last respects.
My brother's memorial service was packed. There was a lot of people. He had a lot of loved ones. So there was a lot of people there. It was real hard because at that now I gotta see him in a casket. Now I get confirmation that he's gone. It kind of like breaks the wall. It kind of breaks you down a little bit, and then you just start crying.
Detectives' most pressing concern is the fact that Ishmael's killers are still on the loose. And the two women who might be able to identify them are unwilling to talk.
I asked Shanasia if she would come down and give a formal interview at the station, and she refused.
Aubriana Parisi was obviously Shanasia Peterson's friend, but she seemed to be terrified.
Sometimes people are scared to cooperate because they fear retaliation. Sometimes they just don't want to be known as a snitch.
Without the cooperation of these potential witnesses, the investigation hits a wall.
We started focusing on trying to figure out who is this other individual, and the police were getting anonymous tips at that time when it might be this person, it might be that person.
None of the leads pan out. But the day after Ishmael's memorial service, investigators get an unexpected break in the case.
Mason Quayles was actually finally arrested on September 11th at a hotel where Miss Aubriana Parisi had the room booked underneath her name. So he was taken into custody by the U.S. Marshals.
After the crime, started fleeing, but then he came back to Harrisburg, and his girlfriend actually got him a room in Swatara Township, and he was brought in on the probation violations.
Aubriana Parisi is also arrested and charged with harboring a fugitive. But it's nearly a month before police are able to convince her to tell them what she knows. Due to the COVID pandemic, Aubriana and the detectives all wear masks during her interrogation.
Between September and October, I had gained access to Miss Peterson's phone through a search warrant. It showed the conversations between herself, Miss Aubriana Parisi.
Those conversations seem to confirm what investigators already suspect.
She knew Shanasia wanted some kind of revenge. She offered to call her boyfriend, Mason Quayles, and have him assist Shanasia in seeking that revenge.
They agreed that Mason Quayles would come over to Shanasia's place so they could talk about what they were going to do about this situation with Ishmael Lewis.
On the way, Quayles picked up a friend to help. And according to Aubriana, they were willing to do anything Shanasia asked.
A person by the name of MG, Marcus Garner, was with him at the time, and she advised us that they were involved in going down to the house and the shooting.
When detectives ask Quayles about his girlfriend's story, he refuses to answer. And Shanasia continues to evade police as well.
Shanasia actually left the area for a while. Shortly after the crime, she went to New Jersey. Detective Schaub tried multiple times to get her to come back to talk because she was clearly somebody we had an interest in speaking to. And certainly after Aubriana came in, then it became even more important.
So on December 22nd of 2020, charges were filed against Mr. Mason Quayles and Shanasia Peterson for the homicide of Mr. Ishmael Lewis. Shanasia was arrested on December 26th.
As investigators focus their efforts on identifying the second shooter, a call comes in that promises to break the case wide open.
Ms. Shanasia Peterson contacted the district attorney's office and stated that she wanted to sit down and now speak about the investigation.
Hey y'all, my name is Tiara, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit is that it has the perfect amount of spice to jumpstart my day. I just love how the biscuit just matches perfectly with the spice on the chicken fillet. Whoever thought of it, thank you so much.
Has this happened to you?
I think that children that start to process their father's life being taken prematurely have it a little different than if it was natural causes or a car accident or health causes, because in those situations, for example, in a car accident, that's almost like an act of God. When it's violence, it's hard for a child's mind to process why somebody else had the right to take the life of their father.
As a husband, father of 9, entrepreneur, and a public figure, there is never a dull moment in my house. Life comes at you fast, and it's important to stay connected. One of the best connections I've ever made was marrying my wife and now business partner, Miss Keena Wells. Since then, we've been able to tackle the world together and create our own recipe for success. By using that recipe, I've been blessed to travel globally, meet some of the most revered people, spread love to the world, and most importantly, take care of my family. From traveling work schedules to creating new recipes, writing and promoting books, doing remote interviews, keeping up with my social media family, and shooting new shows, I need to stay tapped in. I need the best, the fastest, and most reliable internet service in order to stay connected. Did I tell you my wife and all 9 of my children have to be connected too? Imagine all that internet traffic in one household. The kitchen is the heart of our home. Like my food, my wife, my children, and my brand, I do not play in the kitchen, and I do not play with my internet. The world I live in, I need to stay connected.
In June of 2021, 9 months after Ishmael Lewis was gunned down at his Steelton home, his girlfriend, Shanasia Peterson, finally agrees to meet with investigators.
This was a big one that Shanasia wanted to talk, and so we were curious what she was going to have to say.
To their surprise, Shanasia doesn't hold back. She tells detectives that Ishmael's alleged attack on her that morning left her wanting revenge.
She admitted that she called Miss Aubriana Parisi, who sent Mason Quayles to her house, and Mr. Mason Quayles was accompanied by another individual she knows as Marcus Garner.
The younger somebody is and the less experienced with the criminal justice system somebody is, the more likely they are to go against attorney advice, which is not necessarily to remain silent. Little did Shanasia know that the contents of that conversation could have put her away for life.
Shanasia Peterson was friends with Mason Quayles since they were kids. And Marcus Garner, she didn't know quite as well, but she had interacted with him in the past. So she tells them what happened, and they talk about what they're going to do.
She knew that Mr. Lewis had come into some money, and she knew the PIN numbers to all of his cards, so they were supposed to rob him of his cards.
But Shanasia says when the men returned, it was clear things hadn't gone according to plan.
She said Mason got there first. He seemed like he was frazzled, and he said, went left.
Mason Quayles and Marcus Garner started fighting him, and the two of them were losing to Mr. Lewis. And that's when the shooting occurred.
Shanasia explained that this is not how she saw that going. She did not intend for Mason and Marcus to kill her boyfriend Ishmael. In fact, she warned against it. She said, "I know how things can go wrong. Don't kill him." And unfortunately, they did.
Every detail that she gave us was consistent with the other evidence that we had. And she wasn't aware of all that evidence. So all those things lined up to make us confident that she was telling the truth.
Shanasia has not only implicated herself in the crime, she's given investigators vital evidence against the second shooter, Marcus Garner, AKA MG.
Before Shanasia spoke to us, we didn't have any person that could say that they actually saw Marcus Garner there on that day. And so that piece was very important.
She's the one that sent them down. She saw them after the crime occurred, and they left. So now we have enough to charge Mr. Marcus Garner.
As news of the arrests reaches Ishmael's family, they have a hard time accepting that his girlfriend could have played a role in the crime.
That's the crazy part. I didn't hear that they was having no problems. So when I heard everything, it's almost like it was unexpected, but growing up in the hood, it's like anything can happen. It's unexpected, but when you hear something so like outlandish, something so wild, it's not uncommon.
According to Shanasia, she wanted revenge for her claims of domestic abuse, of which there is no real evidence.
A woman gets in a relationship with a male who maybe isn't treating her the way that she would like to be treated, really the way that any person should be treated. And so she starts taking measures to try to get back at him.
It is clear that Shanasia wanted revenge. But what is also clear is she did not intend for Ishmael to be killed that day.
It was robbery that went wrong. She told them that she didn't want to kill, that she just wanted to get back at him for the domestic violence.
Even with no proof of the domestic violence, the DA's office agrees, offering Shanasia a deal instead of prosecuting her for murder.
With her cooperating with law enforcement, providing information that was important for us to be able to get the people who actually carried out the killing, we decided that we believed it was appropriate for her to plead guilty to the robbery and conspiracy to commit robbery and not go forward on any murder charges with her. Certainly part of that arrangement involved her cooperating and testifying truthfully at the trial against Mason Quayles and Marcus Garner.
Hello, hello, hello.
Ashley and Brent are looking for love.
2 years have passed since the death of Ishmael Lewis, and his accused killers, Marcus Garner and Mason Quayles, are finally set to stand trial. Prosecutors are confident of their case against the two men, but days before the trial begins, one of their key witnesses gets spooked.
Mason Quayles had written to Aubriana Parisi while he was awaiting trial, and in that letter, he essentially threatened to kill Aubriana Parisi.
He identified himself by his street name, Booney, in the letter. He talked about her and Shanasia and how it's her fault that he's under investigation. He explained that he wanted to end her life.
state's attorneys confiscate the letter and submit it as further evidence. On October 19th, 2022, the trial begins.
So we decided as a family not to go to the trial. First thing, I didn't want to see my mom crying no more. I didn't want to see her cry no more. I wanted to put it behind me. They was gonna get the sentence they was gonna get, you know, whether I was there or not.
When Aubriana takes the stand, there's no denying Quails' threats have been effective.
Aubriana was clearly, she didn't appear to want to be there. She seemed to be terrified.
She was understandably very reluctant to testify or do anything that would show Mason Quails or Marcus Garner that she was cooperating in this case.
To the prosecution's relief, Shanaisia's testimony is much stronger.
Shanaisia was very impressive to testify in the same room with the two people who killed her boyfriend, watching a courtroom filled with strangers. It was very impressive to see her tell her story under those circumstances.
She did very well in the stand. She was truthful, she was honest, and she did show remorse.
But the defense attempts to undermine Shanaisia's testimony with a last-minute surprise witness.
Mason Quails took the stand and attempted to give his rendition of what happened.
One of the things that the defense had brought up and the argument that they made was, well, you know, why would Mason Quails commit this crime knowing that he's got this ankle monitor on and the police are going to be able to put him at the scene? The explanation from our standpoint was simply that you can't assume that criminals, when they commit crimes, are always going to be smart. Mason Quails basically had to concede that he was there because we had the GPS records. His testimony on direct examination was basically that he just wanted to go down to talk to Ishmael Lewis, that there was no plan to rob him, there was no plan to beat him up.
What he did is say that Marcus Garner wasn't there. He provided a name of an individual who had since passed, who had died. Seemed awfully convenient.
The jury agrees. On October 21st, 2022, they find Mason Quails and Marcus Garner guilty of second-degree murder.
After the verdict was read, they went to immediate sentencing because second-degree murder in the state of Pennsylvania carries a life in prison term. So they were automatically sentenced right there to life in prison.
There were so many emotions flowing through that courtroom at that time.
It was a somber feeling because, you know, not only did Mr. Ishmael Lewis lose his life, now the families of Mr. Marcus Garner and Mason Quails are going to lose them for their life.
For her part in the crime, Shanaisia Peterson is sentenced to 23 months in prison, plus 8 years of probation.
The day he was murdered, he held his grandchild the first time ever. If she would have got a life sentence, then I would have felt a little better, but it ain't really too much you can do. You just, you know what I mean? Get your feelings under tact and you just gotta keep it pushing, you know?
Should she have walked away from this with no punishment? Absolutely not. She did do the right things at the end of the day to get her as light of a sentence as she got. And she earned it. But nobody should act in revenge.
It's just so common now, unfortunately, where, you know, somebody gets offended or somebody gets slighted, and instead of resorting to other means right away, they want to pull a gun and shoot somebody.
And I'm a man now, so, you know, I'm not looking for a father figure anymore, but I miss him. I'm thinking about him all the time, and it hurt because when I'm out, somebody always saying, you look just like your brother. So even when I'm not trying to think about it, you know, I'll be like, dang, my brother gone. When
we give ourselves out so deeply to these men, what do we have in return? You know, I just lost myself in that whole situation. I didn't even recognize myself.
To hear someone say, die, 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 as you feel bullets piercing your body, that's a whole nother level of hatred.
You can see the trail of the blood where she rolled and made her way back to the middle of the intersection. She wanted somebody to see her.
As a woman, we tend to know when something's not right.
The police couldn't tell her anything, so we didn't know what was going on.
It kind of just became a fight for them on who deserves this man.
I was thinking that this was gonna change her for the rest of her life.
Once I felt that first bullet, I was in a room of fire.
Halloween night 2020. Shortly after 2 a.m., Ashaki Banks, a resident of the village of Bellwood, Illinois, is awakened by a loud noise.
I'm hearing pow, pow, pow. I'm hearing gunshots. So I climbs up in my bed and look out my side window. So I ain't see nothing. I was like, no, this ain't right, because the gunshots was just so loud and so close. I get downstairs, I'm looking from side to side like, okay, it's awful quiet. I mean, it just was just so weird this night, how it was. You know, it's Halloween, it's kind of foggy. And I'm hearing a voice like, help, help, help.
Stepping outside, Ashaki sees a woman lying in the street, bleeding. She also sees a figure walking away from her toward a parked van.
The person that was, I guess, just had shot her was walking off. They walking off getting in the van. And the van took off going slow, so now I'm running across the street to her. And she's laying there, I'm like, don't move, don't move. You can see the trail of the blood, you know, a little bit farther down the street where she rolled and made her way back to the middle of the intersection. And she wanted somebody to see her. Seeing her, I knew that was Nicole.
Nicole C. Jones was born on August 12, 1996, and grew up in Bellwood, a suburb west of Chicago.
I was raised by my mother. It was only me and her, single child. Even though my father was absent in my life, I still had very strong male role models. My grandfather was one, my uncle. My mom's sister, my aunt, she died when my cousins was fairly young. So I grew up, my mom helped raise them with their father. So we grew up like fairly close to each other. So they were like my sisters.
Nicole and I and my sister, our upbringing, we were pretty much like the three amigos. We would look out for each other anywhere we would go, have each other's back, make sure we knew where each other were. We would always be together, doing things as a three, traveling, going to church.
I always remember going to church. My mom, my granddaddy, my grandma, we would all go to church every Sunday. I had Bible class on Monday, choir practice on Thursday, praise dance practice on Saturday. So I was very active in church. It was instilled in me at a very young age. So I always just knew who God was, and I knew how to communicate with him.
Growing up, Nicole gained self-confidence through worship and music.
I joined a praise dance team. I was on the team for all 4 years. I was also in my high school choir. I don't have a soloist voice, but I can sing. I could be background.
Friends knew her as a stylish and self-assured young woman.
I've been Nicole 10 plus years. We've been friends since 4th grade. Actually, when we met, we was only 2 girls in the classroom. So it was like we just had to be friends. Nicole and her mom used to always pick me up to go shopping with them. Nicole, she was always the best dressed. She's always looking nice, hair and makeup, always on point. She was the girl, that girl. Like, nobody couldn't tell her nothing.
In one area of her life, however, Nicole didn't have as much confidence.
I was very shy and insecure about dating as a younger girl.
I think that her mom was very cautious about things, as she should as a mother. Being a mother of a daughter in Chicago, I think that it was important for her to be a little stricter. So Nicole had a lot of guy friends in school, but because of how strict her mother was, she wasn't able to have like guy friends at home or to like hang out with them.
I was always so covered up in high school, and then when I got older, I just got comfortable in my own skin. So, and I think that kind of reflected outward. So guys came attracted to that. 19, I really just started coming into myself, really feeling my body, knowing that I was beautiful and sexy.
In early 2019, 22-year-old Nicole was working at a call center for a major pharmacy chain. Around that time, she met her first serious boyfriend, Dejon Kelly.
I met Dejon on Facebook. He came into my DM and gave me a wave, and I waved back. I don't give out my number right away, so we just kept it on Facebook for a little while. And then he came back into my DM again, just on a random night, and we talked on the phone for like 2 hours that night.
A few days later, Nicole and Dejon decided to meet in person.
We went to a little restaurant and had like coffee and stuff. What intrigued me with Dejon, he had a story. He had been through some things, and he was like overcoming it, and he seemed very determined, and I love the fact that I can talk to him and he actually listened, gave me back feedback. That really attracted me to him.
By May of 2019, the couple was seeing each other almost every day.
She was excited. She used to tell me all the things they used to do with each other.
Dejon was very affectionate, and at first it was something I wasn't used to. I never had a boyfriend to cuddle or anything like that, so when he like began to do that, I was kind of standoffish at first, but as time like progressed, I started to fall in love, and that was one of the things I did see that I liked. I like affection, so he kind of taught me that in a way.
I feel that Nicole was more happy. She seemed more confident, sharing that, love and joy with someone on that intimate level. I thought it was great for her and for her confidence.
At the time, Dejon was working as a forklift operator at a warehouse, but he had big dreams of becoming a rapper.
We talked about just our future. Like, he just was very ambitious. He was always in school for something, so that kind of like drove me, like, I want to go to school, like, just was a good example in that way. We had even said if neither one of us has a child by 25, we'll have a baby together. I thought Dejon would have been a great father.
In 2020, Nicole was working as a certified nurse's assistant when she learned she was pregnant.
When we found out I was pregnant, we were both taken back. We didn't expect it, of course. But we talked about it and we agreed to keep it.
Unfortunately, the couple lost the baby, which strained their relationship.
We had a miscarriage, and we were arguing a lot.
Then, on Halloween night, all of Nicole's hopes for the future were thrown into chaos. In the early morning hours of November 1st, a neighbor has found Nicole on the street in front of her apartment, bleeding from gunshot wounds.
She was crawling, trying not to die, just, begging, for somebody, anybody just to help her.
At that time, I thought, I'm dying. Like, I'm just dying slowly because I just got so cold. I just asked for my mom, and I said, I don't want to die like this.
She was just like, call my mom, hysterical. I'm just rubbing her hands, calming her down, you know, just letting her know, like, you're gonna be okay. I lost my mother to gun violence. She was shot and killed in 1994. 2012, I lost my 7-year-old daughter to gun violence. Basically the same way. I was not gonna let that girl die.
I heard more voices. So I'm assuming more people came out the house by this time.
Within minutes, Bellwood police and paramedics arrive on the scene and transport Nicole to Loyola Medical Center.
Yeah, they put on the gurney, put in an ambulance, and just took off. And I'm standing there with the police by that time now. Just asking me who did it and what happened. I said, I can't tell you who did it and what happened.
1st, 2020, police in Bellwood, Illinois, are investigating the shooting of 24-year-old Nicole Jones. Her neighbor, Ashaki Banks, tells authorities she saw the shooter flee the scene in a van. She says she didn't recognize the shooter's face, but Nicole did.
And she's laying there. I said, did your boyfriend do this here? And she was like, no, not my boyfriend, girlfriend.
Unfortunately, Ashaki does not know the name of Nicole's boyfriend. Detectives process the crime scene, searching for any clues that might help them to identify the shooter.
Once we got to the scene, the first thing that would happen is the police will start canvassing, looking for shell casings, looking for physical evidence. We found 10 shell casings at the scene.
Police recover surveillance footage from a neighbor's residence that shows a suspect exit the van, walk toward Nicole, and fire multiple shots. The shooter appears to be a woman, but the face is unclear. Without any additional information about the suspect, detectives try to learn more about the victim. They search law enforcement databases for any details about Nicole Jones. They learn that on July 16, 2019, Nicole Jones called 911 to report she was being harassed by her boyfriend, Dejon Kelly. She told police she and Dejon had broken up earlier that day, and he had been calling her ever since, threatening to kill her. No charges were filed, but the fights continued.
A few times I did observe, me getting up, looking out the window. They had altercations, in front of the building. But it wasn't like a long period of time where police was called or ambulance or nothing, but there was just a big argument and they are just going about their ways.
Nearly 1 year later, on May 17, 2020, someone else called 911 to report that Nicole was fighting with a woman named Uniqua Bryson over Dejon Kelly. Investigators suspect Uniqua Bryson is the woman Nicole Jones identified as her boyfriend's girlfriend, and that she came back to finish the job she started on July 5th. Now Nicole is being prepped for emergency surgery.
Yeah, I never lost consciousness up until surgery time. I remember going in and out sometime at the hospital, but for the most part, I never lost consciousness.
Nicole tells authorities that the person who shot her was Uniqua Bryson.
The fact that she was able to talk, to speak, to give certain details was miraculous. And for some, they may have felt like this was an open and shut case. We have the witnesses, we have the name, we don't necessarily need to look anywhere else.
For now, Nicole is unable to give authorities any additional information. As she is taken into surgery, her friends and family learn that she is in critical condition and fear she might not survive the night.
I was like the strong friend. Like, I didn't show no emotions. couple hours later, that's when I couldn't hold it in anymore.
They said that her condition really wasn't known, and they were just trying to stabilize her. But I believe she had fallen into a coma. I didn't know whether she was gonna live or die.
Sponsored by Chevrolet. Electric vehicles for everyone, everywhere.
Introducing the all-new 2024 Chevy Trax.
I work for the Institute of Nonviolence Chicago. It's a nonprofit organization. My passion is working with families that's been affected by gun violence. You know, I strive for this. I sleep, eat it, and diet. This is my purpose. This is my calling as well. It took for me to lose my 7-year-old daughter and my mother to gun violence to see a different way of life and to think different. Nicole, her mother called me and she said, baby, I just want to call and tell you thank you so much for saving my baby. And I said, Mama, her mama named Candace, I said, Mama, I wasn't gonna let her die. That's why I said, you know, Nicole, this Shockey, I'm not gonna let you die. God gave me the strength to do this here, and I was not finna leave her side.
I think that Memorial took my baby and gave me a stillborn that was not mine. I saw her. The nurse brought it to me.
The hospital swamped your baby?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Everything you've gone through from the loss of your husband.
I know what I saw.
I am so afraid of what we can find out.
After the late-night shooting of 24-year-old Nicole Jones, authorities near Bellwood, Illinois, put out an APB for her alleged attacker, 23-year-old Uniqua J. Bryson.
It wasn't a question of who done it. We have a name, we have a suspect, because you miraculously had a survivor who was alert enough to talk to the police and be able to give them a name.
Hours later, Bellwood police charged Uniqua with aggravated battery and the attempted murder of Nicole Jones. But they'll have to talk to Nicole to learn what happened and why. Unfortunately, Nicole's medical situation has taken a turn for the worse.
She had fallen into a coma, so we didn't know much on the condition, and I think we didn't know for a couple of days. For those few days, I was definitely nerve-wracked.
The first time I remember being woke up, I remember a nurse asking me, is your mom Candace Jones? And she asked me to hold up my finger because I was intubated at the moment. I couldn't talk. So she told me just to squeeze her finger. If my mom's name was Candace Jones, and I squeezed her finger, and she told me, we have our own video, because it was COVID at the time. No one could come up to see me. So I remember it got silent, and I just remember hearing her voice. And I said, I made it. I made it. I knew I was alive because I heard her voice.
When Nicole called me, she told me that they were unable to remove a bullet that was still fairly close to her spine. So the chances of her walking again was very slim. I was thinking that she's very young to be going through something like this, that this was gonna change her for the rest of her life and all of our lives, and that it was gonna be a while before things got back to being remotely normal again.
After I woke up, a detective came and visited me at the hospital.
The detective tells Nicole that Uniqua Bryson is in custody.
They had got help from different police stations in the area, and they captured her that night. He said she even called the police on herself, saying, you know, screaming in the phone, saying that she had been robbed.
The detective asked Nicole if she can explain why Uniqua Bryson might have wanted to attack her. Nicole says her problems with Uniqua began in the fall of 2019. when her boyfriend, Dejon Kelly, met Uniqua at work.
One day, we're in the car, and he does music. He showed me a video of a young woman dancing, like, with shorts on to his song. And he's not famous, so I'm like, who is this, you know? And that's when he said, oh, this is somebody from my job. I was very, like, confused with that because I'm a woman that works with other men. I would never put on shorts and twerk to any of my coworkers' music or anything. I wouldn't even send that to no one, you know? So I'm like, does she know you're in a relationship? Like, you know, this is very, inappropriate, you know? He like, oh, I do music. People gonna dance to my music. Like, that's nothing major. Eventually, I see the name Uniqua pop up on his phone one night, and I asked, who is Uniqua? And he said, oh, we work together. She's just a friend from work. It started feeling very off to me when we're asleep at 1 and 2 a.m. and his phone is going off, and it was her. DJ will always just say, oh, she must want to buy something off of me or, you know, something like that. He assured me that nothing like that was going on.
As a woman, we tend to know when something's not right. Our guts rarely lie to us. Nicole had the signs. Nicole had the warnings. But what do we all do at some point or another? We fall. We ignore it.
In January 2020, 1 week after Dejon's birthday, Nicole says she found proof that he was having an affair with Uniqua.
When he had went out for a little second, I went through his things and I found a birthday card that she had gave him. And she said, I know your birthday's gonna be so special this year because you're with me now. So when he got back to the house, I just went off. Why is she saying she's with you now, you know? He like, oh, I don't know why she's saying that. I immediately, kick him out. So he leaves out the house.
Nicole confronts him again outside, and Dejon admits he has been intimate with Uniqua.
I let him come back into the house. I'm like, well, you'll just sleep on the couch and I'll take you to your car tomorrow. When we get into the apartment, he's just looking at his phone and he starts to look out the window. And I say, did you really call this girl over to my house to come pick you up? He like, she the only person I know that's up right now at this time.
To avoid a confrontation, Dejon texts Uniqua and tells her not to come. But the message backfires, making the situation even worse.
He telling her not to come, and she's persistent on coming. He even told her, if you come, my girl gonna wanna fight you. And she still was like, I'm coming.
I'm Jimmy.
In Bellwood, Illinois, 24-year-old shooting victim Nicole Jones tells police about her first encounter with Uniqua Bryson, the woman who allegedly shot her. In January 2020, 9 months before the shooting, she says Uniqua showed up at her apartment looking for Dejon Kelly.
We're getting ready to go to bed, and I keep hearing this horn just going off. Someone's just, resting on their horn. I look out the window, and I see a red car, and I asked him, what kind of car does she have? And he told me. I'm like, this is her outside. He refused to go outside. So I put on my things. I said, I'll go outside and just tell her to leave. I went up to the car calmly. I said, do you mind leaving? Oh, I know everything about y'all. He tells me everything. I said, well, you know everything about me and my relationship. Why are you dealing with a guy that's in a relationship? That's when he comes out. She's telling him, get in the car. Let's go, get in the car.
I would say that this is a case of two women who were desperately missing out on love. As a result, you have a situation where we are going to jeopardize ourselves. We're going to dishonor ourselves in order to fight for this man.
And I'm pointing my finger, and this is when she swings on me, and we started to fight right there.
The sight of a police patrol car ended the fight before it escalated.
The police is circling the block in my neighborhood, so we saw a policeman, and me and him ran back into the apartment. When we went back outside, she was circling the block again, and she rolled down her window and she said, "I will kill you, bitch. I'm going to kill you." I didn't really take that serious.
In the following months, Nicole and Dejan's relationship became increasingly volatile.
They'd be out there arguing back and forth, and I'm like, oh, okay, another day. Because they did it so much, to whereas you don't get up and look no more because you basically know, it's the people downstairs, just let it be.
Nicole's rivalry with Uniqua also intensified.
It kind of sounds like Uniqua said, you know what? This is my time to shine. I am sick and tired of coming in #2, and this time I will absolutely not.
The conflict reached a new breaking point on July 5th.
Me and DJ, we were out like all night. We got back like around, I would say 5 a.m. We settling down, we got into the bed. Around, I want to say maybe 8 o'clock that morning, she's knocking at the window, screaming his name. Then we hear the apartment door swing open. And all I heard was my mom saying, "Is she in my house?"
At the time she broke into Nicole Jones' home, her mother was there. This woman did not care. She did not have any boundaries.
I just started swinging. It just was bad. The cops came. She got arrested that day.
Nicole decided enough was enough.
I'm just like, that was just insane to me, and I just like, this is just going a little bit too far. I just said, if I stay away from him, she'll stay away from me.
Nicole broke up with Dejan, but she didn't anticipate what would happen next.
After the fight in July and me and him breaking up, I guess him and Uniqua had really started seeing each other, because my friends would even spot them out at places at times. But just the fact that he was with her, I didn't like that. I just didn't like the fact that she thought, oh, I'm just gonna come in and just take your man. The relationship is pretty much over at this point, but we're just still sleeping together. I think at the moment, it just became like a sick competition. Just going, I think I was addicted to the drama.
Dejan was messing with both of them, and both women were fully aware of what was happening, so it wasn't really a case of deception. So that lets you know that it wasn't really about Dejan. It's about two women who had two competing interests of self-worth, and what it felt like for each of them and what it would mean for each of them to lose this man.
It feels like I'm gonna win by any means necessary. I'm gonna maintain the power and control of this situation, and I'm gonna get you.
Everyone knew that this was not gonna end well. As a matter of fact, Nicole had family members that said those same exact words. I think no one foresaw that it would end the way that it did, but everyone knew that it wasn't going to end well.
Step up. In 2020, days after an attack that nearly killed her, Nicole Jones tells police how her rivalry with Uniqua Bryson escalated for months, leading to an eruption of violence on Halloween night.
Me and my friends were supposed to go to a Halloween party. As I'm getting ready, DJ calls me. We on FaceTime. He's seeing my Halloween costume, and he was like, "What you doing tonight?" And I told him about the party. And he was like, "Okay, I want to spend Halloween with you. I want to come to the party." Once I get to the party, I send him the address. I'm at the party maybe a good 30, 40 minutes, and he didn't hit me back. I'm like, "Are you on your way?" And he said, "Yeah." Then another 20-some minutes go by, and I'm like, "What you doing?" And no reply.
Suspecting that Dejan is with Uniqua Bryson, Nicole checks the other woman's social media page.
I went on it to watch Uniqua's story, and sure and behold, she's taking a video at a house party, and he's behind her doing something, talking to somebody. And I sent him a screenshot of it, and I sent it to his phone, and I said, "Well, I'll see where you at. It's cool, stay where you at." When I got home, it was midnight. As I'm sitting on the couch, my phone rings, and I don't recognize the number, but it's a Chicago number, so I answer. And it was her. And she gets on the phone, and she like, why you sending pictures of me to my man? And I'm like, oh, he your man now? She like, yeah, he right here in my bed. You want to see him? And then she FaceTime. I can see he's in the bed, sleep. She's hitting on him, trying to wake him up. And she was really ranting that night. She kept talking. And then she said something real disrespectful. So they started to like argue and stuff like that. So I hang up the phone. I started getting ready to go to bed. I hear Dijon's loud motor to his van. So I immediately assume, oh, she must have kicked him out. Now you coming over here, because that was the initial plan. He wanted to be with me. When I looked out the window and I seen it was his van, I just ran outside. As I walk outside, I'm walking up, I'm immediately seeing the shape, and I'm knowing it's not him. It's her. And she was walking walking back towards the van, and I was walking up on her, so she had her back towards me. So as I walk up, I said, what are you doing here? She turned around and she said, why would you come outside? And she went into her pocket, she pulled the gun out. She said, you think it's a game? I saw that gun, my heart dropped. My heart dropped. I immediately got that reaction, it's a gun. It's nobody else out here but me and her. I'm gonna die tonight.
After months of verbal and physical fighting with Uniqua Bryson, Nicole realizes their feud has reached a point of no return.
I just remember the big popping noise. It made my ears ring immediately. And then once I felt that first bullet, it was so hot. It just felt like I was in a room of fire. And that immediately, my body just collapsed. And I fell dead on my stomach on the street. And then that's when I feel her presence come over my body. And she's right over me, and she's still shooting me. I'm calling for God, I'm calling for my mama. I'm just screaming. And at this moment, I just hear her say, die, die, die. I thought to myself, okay, you gotta play dead. Because if you don't, she not gonna leave until she think you dead. So I just put my head down in the street and I got quiet. And that's when it stopped.
To hear someone say, die, 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 as you feel bullets piercing your body, that's a whole nother level of hatred. That's a whole nother level of trauma. And to realize that you had to play dead or else they would not have stopped shooting you, that speaks volumes.
I hear her walking away, and as she's walking away, I lift my eye up just a little bit, and I saw her footsteps walk back to the van. And once I heard that van door close, and I heard the motor drive off, that's when I started back screaming again.
Nicole suffered 17 separate bullet wounds, counting exit wounds as well as entry wounds, to her legs, stomach, and back. Miraculously, she lived to tell her story.
Some of the bullets are still in her at this point to the present day, and you have them recounting a very traumatic experience. And oftentimes, trauma affects people differently. It affects how we remember things. It affects whether we want to remember things. It affects how we go on to live our life and to tell our story.
At first, I was so angry. I was so mad. I seen her face everywhere. I dreamed of it, I wanted revenge on her. I was just so mad that she did that to me. I couldn't understand why she did that to me. But I had to let go of the hate because it was just consuming me. It made people not even want to be around me because I just was so angry. God really helped me through that dark place.
marveled at the fact that she was so composed, considering everything she had been through. It was almost unbelievable. I think the thing that stood out to me the most, I expected her to be more angry than what she was. When I asked her, did you forgive her? She said, I'm working on it.
Almost 2 years after the near-fatal shooting, Nicole Jones prepares to confront Uniqua Bryson one more time in a courtroom.
Uniqua's court appearance was a big play on who was still going to get the upper hand. The last showdown between the two.
Ashley's looking.
On December 5th, 2022, Uniqua Bryson goes on trial for aggravated battery and the attempted murder of Nicole Jones.
The defense's strategy was to try to cast doubt. So you have the victim who's telling you, this is the person who did this to me, and the defense decides to try to raise doubt on gunshot residue and which hand it was found on, and whether the shooter was left hand or right hand, or was trying to use the surveillance to say, okay, the gun was in a different hand, and so this person couldn't have done this. But there was just too many factors stacked up against Uniqua in this instance, mainly Nicole. When you are shot at 17 times and you live to tell the tale, you're gonna remember who did it.
Nicole testifies against her attacker, but Uniqua remains silent.
Uniqua was just staring me down. And you could just see the hate in her eyes for me.
There was no emotion, there was no remorse. It was like she was annoyed that she was even sitting there, and even more annoyed that Nicole was still alive.
As the trial comes to a close, the judge finds Uniqua Bryson guilty. 2 months later, she is sentenced to 31 years in prison.
At the sentencing hearing, I wrote a statement, and the state attorney read it. I said, I forgive you, and I hope that you get the help that you need while you're serving your time.
No one wins in this case. You have two women whose lives are forever changed. One woman is spending a majority of her life behind bars. You have another woman who is living partially paralyzed and have to live with what happened to her for the rest of her life. Nobody's won, nobody wins. I'm very surprised that no one wanted to talk to Dejan or didn't make it mandatory.
He has said to me that night he had, they had a fight. She ran downstairs and he remembered her screaming and just, crying real loud, and he didn't go down to check on her or anything. He just rolled over and went to sleep. And he said the next morning he saw his keys was gone. And then he got a call from the police station from Uniqua saying that they were accusing her of shooting me.
I think for Dejan to experience redemption, he has to first acknowledge his role within the situation. You have a lot of people who are dead on the inside and could care less about that acknowledgement or that redemption. So it really depends on where he is in his walk of life.
Until then, Nicole Jones is moving forward, not looking back.
My best hopes for my friend is continue to be brave, continue to be great. She's smart, she's beautiful.
In situations like these, resilience is often built, and resilience is that thing that keeps us going despite of. We don't know where the strength is coming from. We're just making that decision every single day to say, I am bigger than my circumstance. I am bigger than what happened to me. Living my life is of the utmost importance, and no matter what, I'm going to persevere, I'm going to push, and I am going to have the greatest life I can possibly have.
I think she's very strong. One of the strongest people I know. A year later, she was able to walk and has made so much progress. And she really did beat the odds because what the doctors was telling her, she pulled a complete 180.
Some good will come out of this. I don't know what that is, and it's up to her to find out what that is. But I believe that she has a mission here on life, clearly. There's a reason Nicole survived, and we're all gonna be here rooting for her and looking for her to reveal that to us.
I definitely want to, work as a gun violence advocate. I definitely want to do a foundation for women. We're worth more than a lying, cheating bum. We give ourselves out so deeply to these men, and what do we have in return? I just lost myself in that whole situation. I didn't even recognize myself. I'm just now learning Nicole, and I'm really tapping into my self-love journey at this moment, my spiritual journey. I'm really, just focusing on me.
Everybody loved Jennifer. I mean, she was a heart of gold. I still shed tears because I miss her. I miss her smile. I miss her. And she didn't deserve that.
She was laying on a mattress, a plastic bag over her head, and she was nude from the bra down.
Revenge starts with love and passion, but often leads to hate and death.
When someone doesn't talk about how they feel, it begins to bubble up.
He was very, very jealous.
Revenge is when you want to respond to something that hurt you. Payback is when you take action.
It's not the snake that kills the person, it's the venom.
November 15th, 2008. At 5:30 a.m., police in Plant City, Florida, receive a 911 call from a terrified woman.
She indicated that she was in the trunk of her car, that she had been taken against her will, and she was seeking help.
They tried to find out any information that would give them a lead on her whereabouts, but they couldn't. There was a lot of noise, there was a lot of music. You could barely hear the voices.
At this point, the dispatcher doesn't know who she is or where she is. The woman is screaming. This is potentially a life and death situation.
But before dispatchers can get the woman's name, the line suddenly goes dead.
She was worried that whoever had taken her was going to find out what she was doing and do her harm. So she discontinued the call after about 1 minute and 23 seconds. They were trying to decide whether they should call her back, because the one side is that if you call her back, you might get more information to be able to help her. The other side is they might hear her, whoever had her, and they might do harm to her. So on balance, they said we shouldn't call her back.
Instead, operators attempt to trace the call.
The 911 call pinged off the tower that was located at the Nonasassos Road and Interstate 4. And that's why it was received by the Plant City operators. You wouldn't be able to tell a law enforcement officer what to look for. And the likelihood was that if they were driving through Plant City, they wouldn't be hanging around a cell phone tower.
Police can only hope the woman calls back. But as several hours pass, they begin to fear the worst. 20 miles away in Tampa, Florida, the family of 31-year-old Jennifer Johnson is having similar thoughts. They've all gathered for her daughter's birthday party. But Jennifer is nowhere to be found. The last time any of them saw her was over 18 hours ago.
There is absolutely no way Jennifer would miss her 2-year-old daughter's birthday party. She's been planning for it, she's been saving for it, she's coordinating everything with all the aunts.
Everybody calling, Jennifer's not picking up this phone. Jennifer's not picking up this phone. And we were sitting there and I was like, this not right. Y'all know this is not Jennifer. That was her only daughter. And she would do anything for her baby.
Jennifer Johnson was born on May 12, 1977, in Santa Ana, California. The oldest of 3 sisters raised in a large, tight-knit family.
Jennifer was headstrong, independent, didn't ask nobody for nothing. She was raised by her mother, but she was also raised by my mother.
Jennifer was only 7 when the family relocated, so she did most of her growing up in Marianna, Florida.
From a little girl, she always loved to braid. I mean, that was a gift that God gave her. She knew I love hairdos, and she would make deals with me. Auntie, if you do this for me, I'll do your hair. So she did everybody's hair. Everybody go to Jennifer.
Hairdressing turned out to be more than just a childhood hobby. After high school, Jennifer took a job in Tampa so she could save enough money to open her own salon.
Jennifer Johnson was a very, very eager, outgoing, outspoken, independent, hard-working young woman who had a very bright future. She worked at a medical device company, and she sold over $250,000 a year at that company, making her one of the best employees there. Everyone who worked with her or worked around her recognized her enthusiasm and her drive.
But Jennifer wanted more than just a career. She also wanted a family of her own. In 2001, that led her into the arms of a single father named Vincent Brown.
Jennifer met Vince in a bar, and from there I took off. We started seeing less and less of her. We wondering what is going on.
Jennifer's family struggled to understand the appeal. Vincent was 9 years older and an ex-con who recently served 18 months in prison. But he seemed to go out of his way to prove them wrong.
Their relationship was like a whirlwind. He took care of her. He didn't want her to want for anything. It was almost like a dream come true.
It seemed even more like a fairy tale when Jennifer found out she was pregnant.
This was a big deal for our family because she was the last to have a baby. And we always say, all right, Jennifer, it's your time. You're gonna have a baby. And she had a miscarriage. So she went to the doctor and they said she'll never be able to have children.
It was a major blow, which caused Jennifer to take a closer look at her relationship with Vincent. And soon, cracks began to appear.
She had to come to the realization that he had 9 other baby mamas, and his attention wasn't always just on Jennifer.
You will go into the relationship, everything is great, everything's fine, and then they may just slam the door the first time, and then they walk out, and now you have an argument, and they come back, baby, I'm sorry. Then they come back, and it's like every time it becomes this cycle more and more.
The two broke up and got back together several times. Then in 2006, everything changed.
They had been together about 5 or 6 years, and then she got pregnant. Everybody was happy, and she was the miracle baby.
After 2 years, it seemed like Jennifer and Vincent might work things out. The night before their daughter's birthday, they even met up at a club.
So she can't wait to hurry up and get dressed. She spent around and asked everybody how she looked. We started saying, where you going? You cooking, where you going?
Jennifer told her family she was meeting Vincent at a nightclub. but she never returned.
So now it's day. She done cooked all this food. All this food is on the counter. We all walking around. I done grabbed me a drink now because something ain't right. My nerves done got bad. We thinking she gonna walk through the door, and she never did.
Now, the family is convinced something has happened. And the one person who might know where Jennifer is seems to be missing as well.
Neither Jennifer or Vincent are at the birthday party.
We started calling, and it got to the voicemail. That person was saying, this person at this number is not available.
But by nightfall, Vincent has recorded a new message.
Then it changed to, I did what I had to do. It's done. I think it was my niece, and they was like, y'all hear what he said? Y'all hear what he said? And then when they said, I said, cause he done killed her.
"31-year-old Jennifer Johnson has disappeared after a night out with the father of her child, Vincent Brown. And after her family hears his disturbing voicemail message, they immediately call police. According to them, there have been red flags from the beginning of the relationship.
Vincent Brown had 9 baby mamas, and it was always, you got to compete against all these baby mamas. I said, girl, leave that. I feel she knew she deserved better, but she got caught up. She fell in love. She wanted us to like him. You know, but then the bad things that he started doing, then that made me, like, push away from him.
The family's biggest concern was Vincent's alleged drinking and the violence that sometimes came with it.
He could be sometime the good person, and then he'll turn into an evil person and do evil things. And then I start hearing the rumors of his other baby mama, how he used to beat her. I asked Jennifer about it, and she was like, Auntie, I got it. She stopped telling us anything. So we on the outside trying to look in.
Victims of intimate partner violence often overlook the red flags. I mean, they're blinded by love. This person who abuses them doesn't start off by just abusing them. It happens slowly. They first start off by charming them, by making them feel like they're beautiful, that they're loved, like they're the only one. And then slowly, those actions get more harmful.
Strange things just started happening to her. A fire started behind the door, set her whole house on fire. She didn't catch it in time. Then there was another incident. Jennifer always wore a lot of jewelry, and I don't know how they got into her house. All I know, they broke into her house and they robbed her.
Some of Jennifer's family believe Vincent was the one responsible.
So they the only 2 in the house. She's not gonna set fire to her house. Everybody kept saying, Vincent's setting this up because it's too much stuff back to back.
Jennifer did try to leave Vincent on several occasions, but each time he did whatever it took to change her mind.
He gave her this miracle baby that meant the world to her. That does make it hard for anybody to walk away. Why would I break up my family when the one thing I wanted was a family?
By 2008, Jennifer's loved ones were worried how far Vincent might go.
She was very independent. She had her own car, her own house, and I believe he got mad about that. He started envying her. His love started turning into hate because he seen what type of woman she was. She didn't need him.
That family had to watch this very gregarious woman go from being outgoing and independent to being isolated and very private. That was very awkward for that family to experience because they even had to go through 3 years of multiple police reports and arrests of Vincent abusing Jennifer.
Now they believe Vincent followed through on his threats.
Jennifer is not gonna miss her baby birthday party. She's the hostess out. I mean, we're gonna give a party and she's not here. Come on now, y'all know that girl love her baby too much for that.
Plant City police aren't as certain. Since it's been less than 24 hours, they advise waiting to file a report. So, Jennifer's family decide to take matters into their own hands.
We just jumped in our cars. We went looking everywhere we thought she would be. We was in the river, we was in the tunnels, we was in the lake, we was under the rug. The police were saying this family is real forceful, and they had to back us up, telling us to let them do their job. So now here's the kicker. We goes to his mama's house, and when we get there, we looking down on the ground, and you can see where it been like a scuffle. You know, if you dance around in it, your footprints, everything. So the dirt had been disturbed.
The family immediately calls police again. And this time, they sent someone.
And when the police came, he went to walking around. He picked up a bracelet. He picked up earrings, ring, ankle bracelets. And he put it all on top of his notepad. And we say, this is Jennifer's jewelry.
Vincent's mother admits she saw Jennifer the night before, arguing with her son in the driveway. But when the family asks to search the house, she threatens to charge them all with trespassing.
Once they told us that we was trespassing, we left, but we did come back. We couldn't come to the fence, but we circled the block.
Along the side of the house, hidden from view, they claimed to spot something strange. A vehicle completely covered by a tarp.
That was her car, and we didn't know.
And action.
Fundamentally are connected.
She is so driven and has always been that way. I'm a follower.
Some people just know that's not gonna fit. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate.
That's not gonna fit.
What's that?
You need another 4 inches.
You work here?
Nope. I just saw you there and I thought I'd save you the trouble. Nana.
She's a human measuring tape, and she knows Allstate is the right fit for her.
It's not gonna fit. That's not gonna fit. What? Steven.
Some people just know.
Well played. Well played, my friend.
Those are the people who know you're in good hands with Allstate.
Beauty isn't just what...
Florida police might not have enough evidence to prove Vincent Brown abducted Jennifer Johnson, but her family has little doubt, especially when they notice a vehicle stashed behind his mother's house.
It covered all the way down. You didn't see nothing because they have junk. Our mind not thinking, okay, she's over here. We just trying to find her. Is she in this house?
Without a search warrant, all they can do is wait. After several hours, the family goes home to rest. But when they return bright and early the next morning, something is missing.
When we go back, one of my nieces say, man, we should have checked that tarp, but it's gone. The tarp on the ground now, but the vehicle is gone.
The number one suspect was Vincent. We saw that they got in an argument, and he was the last person seen with her.
On Sunday, November 17th, 2 days after Jennifer's disappearance, Vincent surprises everyone by turning himself in on an unrelated crime.
He know we was looking for him, because he was going to be missing too. But his family made him turn himself in on a drug charge. So when they find her, they can't say he did it because he was in jail. No, baby, we were smarter than that.
Vincent refuses to say anything about Jennifer. But later that day, her car is found abandoned in a nearby neighborhood. When a forensics team searches it for evidence, they find one of Jennifer's earrings in the trunk. The family redoubles their efforts to find her, holding out hope that she might still be alive.
We have been looking all that Monday. It was light turning dark. We got a call and it was somebody say they found her.
The call comes from 30 miles away in Lakeland, Florida, from homicide detective Jeff Birdwell.
Around 6 o'clock, 10 till 6, I got a phone call that a female had been found in an abandoned house. The time between me getting the call and the time that our group actually entered the house had been about 4 hours. So it's dark. Immediately I start looking for any obvious signs as to what may have happened. It looked like there were tire impressions in the side yard. The gate, the wooden privacy gate, was left open. I noticed that what looked to me like possible drag marks in the grass. As we go into the door, there was a mattress propped up. There was some furniture along the wall. It's somewhat of a disarray.
And lying on one of the mattresses is the body of a dead woman.
She appeared to have a plastic bag over her head. She had her blouse pushed up, exposing a black bra, and she was nude from the bra down. When you see something like that, it forms an opinion that it's not just suspicious circumstances, but it's also going to be a homicide. It was apparent, based on experience, that she likely died of asphyxiation. There was some markings around her neck that looked like finger or fingernail marks, which would have been associated with the plastic bag being put on. If she was conscious and struggling, she might have clawed at her own neck.
It doesn't take long to make an identification.
Our PIO was on scene, and speaking with the media, his name was Jack Gillen. Jack walked over to me and said, "Jeff, they're wanting to know if it's possible that this could be the missing lady in Tampa." I contacted the Tampa Police Department and spoke to Detective Houston, who was the lead of the missing persons report. I asked him to get me a description and to find out any tattoos that the family knew of.
They discovered, because of the tattoo Jennifer had on her arm of her daughter, that it was actually Jennifer Johnson who was dead in the house.
As soon as Jennifer's family gets the news, they immediately drive to Lakeland.
We all loaded up and we got there. Everybody's crying. They didn't let us actually see her when they brought her out because they had her covered. And we was all there. When the coroner came and got her body. It was that morning, and I went outside and I looked up to the sky and tears was running down my face, and I just asked God, why? Why?
Based on the tire tracks and drag marks, detectives are fairly certain Jennifer was killed somewhere else. They hope an autopsy will reveal further clues.
To a layperson, an autopsy may be unsightly or unnerving, but the human body, once it's deceased, continues to communicate. It continues to tell you what happened to it.
However, before the medical examiner even gets started, he finds a crucial piece of evidence.
All her remaining clothing is removed, which revealed the cell phone that was hidden in her bra.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket.
My family loves going foraging by our farm. And with Cricket, we can mark our locations, post photos, even identify mushrooms.
Don't have to look far for a good deal. Smile, you're on Cricket.
I can see it. USA.
21-year-old Jennifer Johnson is a crucial step toward catching her killer. But for her family, it's heartbreaking.
She had dry tears coming down her eyes. And I just took the sheets and I just took them off of her because I wanted to see, what did you do to my niece? Why did you do this to her? She did not deserve this. I noticed he had broke her wrist. He had broke her speech box. That's why nobody heard no scream. She was tortured. And like the coroner said, she was seeing everything that was did to her. She died slow.
The plastic bag used to suffocate Jennifer is from the store where she purchased supplies for her daughter's birthday.
You put the bag over her face, then you put another garbage bag over her face, and pulled until you broke her neck.
Worse still, there's evidence the killer sexually assaulted Jennifer after she was dead.
That's why I know he was an evil person, because how dare you have sex with someone's dead that's not responding back to you? How can you do that? It hurts. It hurts this day. It hurts when I talk about it. It hurts because it sent me in a dark place.
When investigators searched Jennifer's phone, they discover she tried to call 911 twice in the hours leading up to her death.
The first time, it wasn't successful. The second time, it went into the emergency department at the Plant City Police Department, and she told them that she was in the trunk of a car.
Jennifer's voice is hard to make out over the loud music, but one section of the call is clear, and it raises more questions than it answers. Until now, the evidence seems to point to only one killer, Vincent Brown. But Jennifer said they. Did he have help? Or is it possible he might be innocent?
In all law enforcement, but never more than from an investigator's standpoint, you approach everything like a parachute. It works better when it's open. So we're open-minded. We don't try to formulate the cause and the effect before we know the external circumstances.
The only things investigators know for sure is that Jennifer went to a Tampa club that night and called 911 from the trunk of her car hours later.
That was the last of any communication from her. So an assumption would be that the final attack on her probably occurred at that time. From there, she was taken down I-4, back eastbound towards Lakeland. It's unknown to us through our investigation if the suspect in this case, her estranged boyfriend, Mr. Brown, if he knew people in that general area.
However, there's no evidence Jennifer had ever been there with Vincent. So detectives go back to the nightclub in Tampa instead to retrace their steps. Employees remember seeing Jennifer late Friday night, having fun with friends.
They were saying she was spinning around. She had the biggest smile.
But when Vincent arrived, Jennifer actually didn't seem happy to see him. Witnesses say they got into an argument over their daughter's birthday party.
I think he promised her, I'm gonna give her $100 for the baby, but she told him, I don't need your $100, and I don't want you there. And he said, don't F around.
It quickly became clear Jennifer didn't go there to reconcile with Vincent, but to break up with him. This time, for good.
She had his stuff in the car to drop off because I feel she had done had enough. I feel that he knew it.
The timeline suggests they went back to Vincent's mother's house. But what happened next is still a mystery.
We know that Jennifer left the club arguing with Vincent, but this is when the water gets really murky because later after meeting at his mother's house, she leaves and finds herself locked in the trunk of a car and being kidnapped.
During my time in law enforcement, you didn't walk in and work homicide. That was unheard of. That is the top tier of investigations. It is the worst crime in humanity to take a life. Therefore, it is the most responsible and accountable task to undertake. When you watch TV, it's all over in 40 minutes plus commercials, and in real life, sometimes it's decades. But the key to a homicide is it's never closed, ever, until an arrest and conviction. This is someone's daughter, this is someone's mother, this is someone's sister, brother, and you want to bring some form of justice, not just to this individual, but also to all her family.
When you're hurt, the bills
A violent ex-boyfriend, a terrifying abduction, and a mysterious accomplice. For Florida police, it all adds up to a murder plot. But they still don't have enough evidence to connect Vincent Brown to the death of Jennifer Johnson. At this point, investigators have stopped looking into a second suspect and are focusing solely on Vincent. And they soon receive unexpected help from one of Vincent's friends, nicknamed Dog.
They've been friends ever since they were little kids. And he said he loved Jennifer. She didn't deserve that.
Dog tells investigators Vincent showed up at his house the morning Jennifer had been killed. And one thing immediately stood out as strange. He was driving Jennifer's car.
He knew something was wrong because you driving Jennifer's car. Jennifer's not gonna give you her car. And Vincent, he don't smoke Newports. Jennifer smoked Newports. He got Newports in his hand. Dog's wife asked, "Where's Jennifer?" And he said, "Thumbs down." That bitch up under the bridge dead. That's what he said.
Dog says he and his wife didn't know if Vincent was joking or not. But he needed a place to stay that night, and they let him. The next morning, they found out it was true.
His wife heard it all on the news, and she got up and she told her husband, "Get him out of our house."
A few weeks later, Vincent's current cellmate also calls investigators to inform them Vincent has been bragging about the murder. According to him, Vincent said he did it because he couldn't stand losing Jennifer to another man.
When Jennifer was ready to move on, that's exactly what she did. She started to date. Look, she's a beautiful woman and doing very well in her job. But guess what? Vincent wasn't having that.
Vincent stated, "If I can't have her, no one can have her."
He knew how good she was. Even though Jennifer had all of it before him, because she shared it with him and walked away, the time that they built together, he thought that he owned it.
His ego didn't allow proper decision-making as an adult.
Between the two witness statements, detectives think they can paint a clear picture of what happened that night.
On November 15th, 2008, Jennifer Johnson was at a bar in Tampa. She had a boyfriend that was very, very jealous, and he came to the bar, found her.
After arguing and leaving the nightclub, Vincent did convince Jennifer to go to his parents' house to talk. The talking at the parents' house then led to a very heated argument. Now, this is 3 o'clock in the morning. This argument was so ugly that Jennifer decided to leave. But she wasn't able to get far because he followed her and they started to scuffle in the driveway.
trunk of her own car and drove away. He went through the city of Plant City, where she attempted to make a 911 call. He then drove her to an abandoned house in Lakeland, Florida. Put 2 bags over her head and killed her.
Investigators now believe they have enough to press charges against Vincent. In January 2009, he's indicted on counts of kidnapping and first-degree murder.
Everybody took him for granted. Nobody thought he had that in him. And he's an evil person. He don't never ever need to get on this side of the earth again because he's gonna do it to someone else.
After a 2-month investigation, Plant City police have linked Vincent Brown to the murder of his ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Johnson. In 2010, as prosecutors continue to ready their case for trial, the family decides to take action.
The city of Plant City got sued by Ms. Johnson's family, and they alleged that the city failed to protect Ms. Johnson by what the 911 operators did and what they didn't do. Part of our investigation was to listen to that audio tape over and over and over. We went and talked to the 911 operator, who was a very young woman who had a very good record. And basically she told us that she couldn't understand Ms. Johnson because it was so loud. The 911 operator was devastated by this. She thought about that for a long, long time. Obviously, it turned out very poorly. But the question is, was there anything that Plant City did that could have changed the outcome? And ultimately, our investigation indicated probably not.
The following year, in October 2011, Vincent's murder trial finally begins.
I just cannot imagine a more tragic case, a more terrifying case. Think about the fact that Ms. Johnson was thrown into the trunk of her own car and that she was driven from Tampa to Plant City to Lakeland. And that's not a short drive. That's 40 minutes of terror. And the only shot she had was that she would be able to call and get help, and that just didn't work. To be taken to an abandoned house and murdered, asphyxiated by the man who's the father of your child. Utterly horrific.
It was like his family on one side, our family on one side, and we very angry. So the court had to sometime cut court because we was at each other in the courtroom until the judge put the law down. Y'all, somebody gonna go to jail, da-da-da, this contempt court. So we had to sit there and act like people, you know what I'm saying?
Because the case is built mostly on circumstantial evidence, prosecutors focus on Vincent's state of mind and his history of domestic violence.
Normally, an abuser does not abuse their victim because their victim did something. An abuser normally victimizes their victim because the victim triggered something in them that is unhealed. Jennifer being this amazing leader in the cosmetology realm, being able to look at somebody and build them up, being able to bring her family together and be the glue for her family, you are now a direct mirror of what I hate about myself. So what I am punching is not you, I'm punching me.
Jennifer was a loving parent who really wanted Vincent to be a part of her and her child's life. And as a result of that, she sacrificed her emotional well-being, her physical well-being, and her life.
But the defense is quick to point out that Jennifer's 911 call never identifies Vincent as her abductor. According to them, his only crime is the drug charge, which already sent him to jail. Vincent even takes the stand to tell the jury his side of the story.
I really wasn't trying to hear what he had to say because he had done broke our heart. My anger is how can I get through these doors to get to him? Only thing I remember that he smiled. He smiled at us. Like he said on his voicemail, it's done. He did what he had to do. He had to do what he had to do. And he did it.
In the end, the jury sides with the prosecution.
On November the 16th, 2011, Vincent Brown was convicted on all charges. Despite the possibility of a death sentence, the jury spared him, but they did give him life.
I wanted the electric chair. But then when I thought about it, these 2 life terms, we ain't got to worry about him ever getting out, and now he can think long and hard. He's a monster, and he need to be just where he at.
They said it's not the snake that kills the person, it's the venom. So when someone doesn't talk about how certain things have impacted them or how they feel, it begins to bubble up, and then you create different stories and plans of revenge.
This was a very tragic story. It's an intersection between domestic violence and a love affair. Domestic violence, 80% of the time, leads to death. And that's exactly what happened with Vincent Brown and Jennifer Johnson.
We should have did more when we seen these things happening. We should have been more of what is going on, Jennifer. You know, we should have started going around more. But we didn't. We ain't thinking this fool gonna do that, but he did it. Just what he said. I still shed tears because I miss her. I miss her smile. I miss her. He took something that was precious to us, you know, and she didn't deserve that. If you didn't want her no more, all you had to do was just walk away. Don't kill her. Only thing we got is a thick piece of concrete that we have to go talk to. And that hurts. Will I ever heal from it? I don't know.